Hello everyone. Good evening.
And
Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to the technical session 3F. I'm Ansi Soni and this session will be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it's my great pleasure to invite you to the International Conference on Information and Communication Technology, London, United Kingdom. The 8th edition of this session is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was held in London on 20th and 21st of February, and the virtual event will be held through Zoom today and tomorrow, that is 22nd and 23rd of February. I hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive session through the day. So in this session, we have 6 presentations, and each presentation will have a total of 15 minutes, in which 12 minutes for the presentation and the remaining 3 minutes for the question and answer. On 10 minutes, we'll raise a gentle reminder. There is another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remarks. And if you have any query or any update, you can write it to me in the chat box. So just before we get started, I would like to introduce to all the session of our chair, Dr. Nitesh Bhatt. Dr. Nitesh Bhatt is a professor and chairperson of Information and Communication Management area at Institute of Management, Nirima University, Ahmedabad. He holds MBA and PhD degrees from ML Sukhadia University, India. He has more than 22 years of experience in academia, corporate training, and research. He is a member of the National Executive Committee of a Special Interest Group on e-governance setup by Computer Society of India. He is a life member of Computer Society of India. Yes, sir.
Thank you. And I think it's a time to listen to the paper presenters. So better to give time to them.
Okay,
all
sir,
the best, and please go ahead with the first presentation announcement, please.
Okay, I would like to start with our first presenter, Michael David, to present his paper on BER analysis over a relic trading channel and investigation using the NOMA scheme.
Before the first presenter comes, I request all of you that after each presentation, as Mansi mentioned, we will have maybe 3 to 4 minutes for question answer. So all of you can also ask questions, and with more and more questions or your valuable comments, each one of us will learn together. So let it be a knowledge enhancing session for all of us. And with that, I request the first presenter, right? Professor Michael David, and the topic is BER analysis. Over to you, Professor Michael.
All right, thank you very much, and good evening. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay. So the title of my presentation is...
Professor Michael, may I request you to please turn on your camera?
Okay, turn on. Okay.
Yeah, all of you are, although I'll be happy if every one of you can turn on your camera, but at least the presenter should do that.
Okay, I'll do so quickly. Okay. All right, once again, good evening, everyone. My name is Michael David. I'm making a presentation on bit error rate analysis over a red light feeding channel. The investigation was based on using the NOMA scheme. I'm representing myself and then Dr. Ibrahim Usman, and then our research student, Chekwas Ifani. These are my presentation outlines. So I start with the introduction. The essential idea of non-orthogonal multiple access is to utilize, the power domain for multiple access, in contrast to orthogonal multiple access, which depends on time, frequency, and code domain. For the orthogonal multiple access, it has a major drawback of low spectral efficiency when some bandwidth resources like sub-carrier channels are given to users with low channel state information. However, when you consider the NOMA, every user have access to every sub-carrier channel. This allows bandwidth resources allotted to users with low channel state information can still access by users with high channel state information, thus increasing the spectral efficiency. The superposition coding at the transmitter and the successive interference cancellation at the receivers are key components of NOMA, which outperforms OMA in terms of spectral efficiency. That is demonstrated in figure 1. Now, as a result of reflection, diffraction, and scattering, effects transmitted signals arrive at receivers with varying power and delay, which is one of the limitations and drawbacks of different transmission channels in the wireless communication. So when data is transmitted over wireless channel, there is risk of errors in the system. The system is integrity can be compromised if errors are introduced into the data. Evaluating the system therefore becomes necessary. The bit error rate provides an ideal method to achieve this goal of evaluation. The bit error rate is a metric which can be employed to characterize the performance of a communication system. In a communication system, information bits are transmitted from the transmitter to the receiver. These information bits can be represented as digital streams of binary information symbols, what we are used to, the zeros and one or one and zeros. However, the transmitted bits are not received correctly by the receiver frequently, thereby giving rise to error. If you look at that illustration we have, the transmitted bit is 1001, 1101, 001. But at the receiving end, at the receiver, what is being received is 1000, 1100, 000. The two ones at the middle, the fourth and the eighth, as a result of transmission, either in the channel or otherwise, errors have been transmitted. So bit error rates during the communication process. So it becomes necessary, therefore, to carry out bit error rate analysis to evaluate the error introduced during the transmission. Though we think of communication system as transmitting a stream of information, but these digital information bits that are zeros and ones are not directly transmitted over the channel, but rather these bits are modulated prior to transmission over the channel. And one of such digital modulation scheme being used is the binary phase shift keying, which is what we consider for our work. So what's the system model, therefore, we are making use of? For a system model, a wireless channel is vulnerable to fading and multi-path propagation. Numerous channel models can be used to capture the effects of fading. The real-life fading model is an example, and that is what has been adopted for this work. It's illustrated in figure 4, real-life fading channel model. As a result of reflection, like I mentioned earlier on, scattering, diffraction, and shadowing, all multiple part components undergo small-scale fading. In an extreme form of real-life fading caused by multiple part transmission, every bit transmitted experiences a different attenuation and phase shift. The real-life fading model is used to statistically analyze radio signal propagation. It works best without a dominant signal, which often happens with cell phones used in dense urban environments. The bit error analysis over real-life fading channel. So the analysis that was done, the first thing I will present under the analysis is values of parameters used and the assumptions made. Now, for the first value that we use, we consider a distance for the far user of 100 meters. And then for the near user, we consider 500 meters. Then power allocation factor for the far user is 70, while for the near user is 30. For user's fairness, we allotted more power to the far user. We initialize a range of 0 decibels to 40 decibels for the transmitted power. Our system bandwidth was also set to 1 megahertz. And according to that relationship, N naught equals to KTB, where K is the Boltzmann constant, T is the temperature in Kelvin, which is about 300 Kelvin, the thermal noise power was obtained. When we then generated the ray light fading coefficient for the far user and the near user, we set the path loss coefficient to 4. Next, we generated noise samples for the far and the near users and randomized binary data for the users. We calculated the superposition model signal after using the BSK modulation scheme. We also calculated the far user and near user, equalize them by dividing with HF and NF respectively. From the equalized versions, we perform direct BPSK demodulation to obtain XF. We use the bit error function to estimate the bit error rate and compared with the original data from the far user. To estimate the signal of the far user, we directly decoded the equalized version of the transmitted signal. We decoded the signal to obtain XN bar by remodulating XF and subtracted the remodulated XF element from the equalized version of YN. We further compressed XN with the near user's initial data. We estimated the bit error rate using the bit error function. Finally, we plotted the bit error rate in relation to transmit power using a MATLAB as a tool. Now, the results we obtained after those analyses. This is the result we obtained. I hope you can see my results clearly. So the results we obtained, we plotted the bit error rate against the transmit power. And then we did analysis for each of them at 10, 20, 30, and 40 decibels. For the far user, we had 0.1488857 at 10 decibels, while for the near user is 0.040852. At 20 decibels for the far user, it's 0.33698, while for the near user is 0.00449. At 30 decibels is 0.04079, while for the near user is 0.00422. And then finally at 40 decibels, we have 0.00447, and then for the near user, 0.000037. So according to the results we have, the deductions from the results shows that interference from the near user causes far user to have greater bit error rate. With no interference, the near user has the lowest bit error rate. This shows that the normal orthogonal multiple access perform as expected. Then in conclusion, the integrity of the information transmitted through the downlink normal system can be assessed using the bit error rate of a digital signal, which is a crucial metric. This works use MATLAB to evaluate the bit error rate performance of a downlink normal with a BPSK transmission scheme over a relay fading channel. The result demonstrated that normal offers users a fair system that is acceptable while minimizing interference and maintaining a reasonable bit error rate. For future work, this study serves as a strong theoretical and simulation foundation for further studies using the normal technology. Future studies can be carried out for different channel models of a normal system. These are some of the references we consulted. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Professor Michael David. Come to slide number 19, please.
19.
Anyone who has any question to Professor David? Any question to him? Okay. In case others are organizing their thoughts. Professor David, my simple question is, how do you define who is a near user and who is a far user?
Okay, from the parameters I earlier mentioned, so I go to another slide where I define the parameters quickly. Now, yes, so this is how we defined, sorry, please. Okay, so for the near user, any user that is within the radius from
Okay.
0 to 500 meters is a near user. Then the far
Okay.
user 500 and above, that's the far user. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Come back to slide number 19 once again.
19, all right.
Okay, so here the user means it was an actual person or a tower or a device, what exactly it was?
Okay, an actual users with a mobile phone.
Natural users. So when you
Yes,
say that far user means greater than 1000 meter, actually they were located at what distance? Whether 2000 meter was also covered, 5000 meter was also covered?
No, the maximum distance considered is 1000. So if you are between the center of the equipment to 500, you are considered a near user. Above 500 to 1000, far user.
Ah, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you also check whether it was what happened when there was one user, one device, and another case where one user, multiple devices, and multiple user, multiple devices?
Okay, I think with what you have said, we will consider trying that in the simulation and see the effect. Thank you very much for that
Okay.
contribution, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. One more thing. Come to your last conclusion slide, please.
All right, sir.
Next one, please. Okay, so you are mentioning this conclusion. Many of the presenters who are here, they may not be directly from the telecommunication or electronics area.
Okay, sir.
Right. So
Yeah.
in simple word, whatever simulation, the good work which you have done, what is its application for the industry?
Okay. The application for the communication industry, actually we have presented, this is the second paper from this work. The first aspect of the work was improving power allocation. The paper we read shows that because the far users are usually, the far users are usually favored more than the near users. So what we intended to do is that the network just decide to just keep on favoring the paper will keep on favoring near users, whether the far user, whether the near user is there or not. So in that work, we now said there should be an algorithm that checks if the far user is not around, allocate sufficient power to the far user. So what we now did was to now calculate the bit error rate to show that there is a good reception. That's what we have just done here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very
and
much.
Best wishes for your future research. You may
All right, thank you
close
very
it.
much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, now the next paper is from Professor Taylor Rodriguez Vance, and the title of the paper is National Policy Evolution, a survey of the opportunities and impact of artificial intelligence policies in international cybersecurities. Over to you, Professor Taylor. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great. And can you see my screen?
No.
Okay, perfect. I think that.
Click. Please click, it will come. I think there is some animation or trans.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
Please go
Thank
ahead.
you very much. Okay, good evening, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Taylor Rodriguez Vance. Today, I'll be talking to you about my research in national policy evolution. My primary focus for this research was a survey of the opportunities and impact of artificial intelligence policies in international cybersecurity. Currently, I'm a doctoral student in artificial intelligence and cybersecurity at Capital University here in the United States. Today, I'm just going to briefly cover a little bit about myself and my research interests, why I'm kind of focusing on this area of research. Then I'll cover the abstract of my paper, of my research. We'll cover the problem statement in the background, the methodology used to identify the results for the paper, and then I'll cover the results categorized in 3 different categories, specifically focusing on national, subnational governments, and international entities. Then I'll cover future work and recommendations, as well as wrap up with the conclusion. So just a little bit about myself. As I said, I'm a doctoral student currently in artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. I also work as a senior cybersecurity researcher and expert in industry. My research interests are artificial intelligence as it applies to cybersecurity, primarily focusing on kind of policy impacts, policy development, focused in national security and international collaboration. All right, so now getting into the abstract, a kind of overall summary of my paper. So
you can skip the slide.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So as for the problem statement, the evolution of artificial intelligence technology, there really is a gap still in the establishment of policy that is focused specifically on artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, or at least the impact that artificial intelligence has on cybersecurity for nation states. So this poses a challenge on multiple areas, primarily focused on not only national security, but also for international collaboration as we're speaking towards peace in cyberspace. So international collaboration amongst international policy development. So the background of my research, there has been significant research that's conducted generally in the spaces of artificial intelligence policy, as well as cybersecurity policy. But this research specifically addresses the cross-section of artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, so how they relate to each other, and primarily trying to focus on those policies and those regulations that address them as partners in this policy development. So the relevance of this paper is kind of the first published research, or first phase, or first step of research to kind of identify the foundation of where currently policy stands for artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, so that a future deeper research can kind of focus on the role that these policies play, as well as the factors or criteria that drive policy development for governments in artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. The methodology that I used for my research was a quantitative evaluation of existing national policies and regulations that specifically focused on artificial intelligence and cybersecurity from government entities. So for the purposes of this research, really only focused on specific target groups, which were government entities that I'll get into in the results, as well as specific related policy instruments that were related to AI or cybersecurity. The research involved the utilization of several authoritative and formal databases and tools that included data sets of active policy instruments from government entities. So this includes national and subnational policies, as well as regulations. And then those policy documents were then verified through the more primary documents set directly at governmental websites to ensure that those were valid data points. The data set was then categorized and divided into 3 sections, as mentioned earlier: national governments, subnational governments, and international entities. All right, so for the results, first we'll talk about national government. So in this context, a national government or a policy instrument relating or born out of the national government are policy documents that address a national strategy, a national agenda, a national plan, so that it applies to the nation overall. As you can see, this is a heat map or a colored geographical map. The darker color means a higher quantity of AI policy instruments or documents for that country. As you can see, the leading country here is the United States, with 52 policy instruments that are categorized being born out of or based out of national government directive. Secondarily, we have the UK at 41. And then as for the top 3, we actually have Colombia at 25. I do want to caveat some of these data sets. So it may not, I want to make sure that it's clear that the research included as many data points as possible, but it might not be all encompassing of all policy documents. And that was mentioned in the paper. And this will be part of future research as well, to ensure that we're exploring like the full data sets going forward. But it is interesting to mention that the top three are the United States, the United Kingdom, and Colombia. This is important to note that this is just the quantity of policy documents for national governments. And as you can see, there's some other players with a certain number of policy instruments for AI by country, but we'll get into kind of the next section, which is the type of AI policy documents that we're seeing across the globe. So primarily for this presentation, but in the paper, you can read the full details. We're going to focus on the top three types of AI policy documents. So as for the highest quantity of policy documents, we're looking at the first, or the leading one, is national strategies, agendas, and plans. So an example of like a national strategy, agenda, and plan that's counted in this data set is the Action Plan on Human Rights that's based out of Turkey. So this is a national plan that focused on how addressing AI as it impacts human rights within the country. Secondarily, we have emerging AI-related regulations as policy documents that are the second highest quantity of AI policy documents per country. And an example of this is the Automated Vehicles Bill in the Road Traffic Act that's based out of Germany. So this was an amendment or an addition to their current Road Traffic Act that really addressed the requirements and the rules for automated vehicles on the road in Germany. And then lastly, we have public consultations of stakeholders or experts. So this is the third highest quantity of AI policy documents. An example of this is the Advisory Council on AI that's based out of Canada. This is a group that advises the Canadian government on building the country towards a stronger AI foundation, AI born regulation. Now getting into the secondary set of subnational governments. In this context, a subnational government is more of a localized government or a state level government within a country. So as you can see, a very similar heat map or geographical map. Again, the dark colors mean higher quantity. And this is the quantity of AI policy documents by country. So as you can see, the leading country is actually Colombia for subnational government AI policy documents. Then in second place, we actually have Belgium with 8, and then Japan with 7. During the research, it was interesting to note that you have different players at the subnational government level, with the exception of Colombia, who is also in the top 3 for national government policy documents. But one reason, even though my research focus is primarily to look at, artificial intelligence frameworks for cybersecurity, really focusing on national security and international collaboration, it is important to note the impact that subnational policies can have on national policies. Oftentimes, subnational policies can be more effective in implementation. And so part of this research was really to identify or to identify kind of a baseline so that maybe future research can focus on what are the factors that are driving these policies, and are they effective? Are they successful policies? And what kind of criteria or factors can be used for an overall framework for improved maybe national policy or international policy or collaboration. So I just wanted to note that that's why that subnational government policies are a focus of this research as well. And as you can see, there's some other players here on the map. And we will get into the types of AI policy documents now. Again, focusing on the top 3 just for this presentation. More details are in my paper, my research. For the top 3 for subnational governments, we're looking at subnational strategies, agendas, and plans as the #1 leading highest quantity. An example of that is the AI Action Plan for Belgium, specifically for the Flanders region. So this is an AI action plan born out of Belgium that focuses on the Flemish region, focusing on AI education and AI proliferation for that area of Belgium. Secondly, leading, we have the public consultations of stakeholders or experts. So an example of this for subnational governments is the Colombian Supercomputing Network. So this is a partnership between the Ministry of Information Technology and Communication, as well as the Center for Bioinformatics and Computational Biology of Columbia, to focus on furthering research for AI and supercomputing. So this is a good example of like what a public consultation of stakeholders is at a subnational government level.
Madam, you need to speed up, please.
Oh yeah, of course. So then thirdly, we have networking and collaborative platforms. I will skip the examples for those. Then lastly, for the results, we have international entities. Again, we have the heat map, and this is the quantity of AI policy documents by country. For the top three, we are looking at Colombia's again in the top three for the number of policy documents. Then we have the UK, and we actually have Turkey. In this context, international entities are organizations that are either funded or partnered with government entities or collaborate with government entities towards research and education. You can see that there's some other players as well here. Again, just to briefly cover the top three types of AI policy documents, we have similar top types of policy documents. We have the strategies, agendas, and plans. We also have emerging AI related regulations. And then in tie for the top or for the third place is the networking and collaborative platforms, along with public consultations of stakeholders or experts. Lastly, for future work and recommendations, it was identified that there is a gap in the policy instruments that specifically address cybersecurity for artificial intelligence. And that future research could be more valuable in identifying the correlation between policy instruments and the applications and operations for government entities and international organizations in artificial intelligence. There is also an opportunity to further evaluate and analyze the crossover between cybersecurity policy instruments and artificial intelligence policy instruments, kind of have a better understanding of where there's gaps and where there's opportunities to improve international collaboration. In conclusion, throughout the course of the research, it was identified that there is a gap between for policy instruments that address cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. Future work really is going to be focused on the opportunities where of identifying the ability to address artificial intelligence for cybersecurity, what factors are driving those policies at a government level, and how we can build out a better framework to improve and increase international collaboration and cooperation within the realm of cyberspace. And so with that, I have my references, and that is all. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Please go to your second last slide. And in the meantime, if anybody has any question, previous one, please.
Yes, I have a question.
This one.
Yeah, please. I think somebody wanted to ask something.
Yes, I have a question. Thank you.
Yeah, please, please.
Yes, thank you very much for your presentation. Number AI.
I think your voice is cracking. I don't know whether it's my end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little, Michael, your volume is kind of low.
Okay, I mean, by AI policy, what's the content of your AI policy? Is it educational? Is it governance? Is it security? What's the content of your AI policy that you consider?
Yeah, great question. So it actually is any policy relating to AI. So it encompasses kind of all that you mentioned. It's AI security, it's AI digitization. What was primarily identified in this research of AI policies that exist for government entities, the majority focused on like government digitization or modernization. So providing AI services to citizens, automated vehicle kind of regulations, those kinds of things. We're not seeing a lot of specific in AI security, and that was one of the gaps. But it is AI policy, anything relating to artificial intelligence being implemented for government. Does that answer your question, Michael?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes. So, Ms. Taylor, in this slide, you are talking about future work / recommendation. So we can see all the three are related to the future work, but based on your findings, what are your recommendations?
Yeah, of course. That's a good question. So based on the work, my recommendations are that There just needs to be a little bit more of a focus on policies that are specifically focusing on the impact that artificial intelligence has on cybersecurity. And what that means is maybe more of a forum that's focusing on security for AI and what that means for nation states. So my recommendation is that nation states or government entities or international entities begin the discussion really focusing on artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. I know that is kind of occurring now, but as artificial intelligence is constantly evolving and advancing, I think that there needs to be more of a priority or more of an urgency put on bringing folks to the table, bringing nation states to the table to discuss together, what an agreed upon collaboration platform framework should be as it pertains to artificial intelligence and how it applies to national security and cybersecurity and security for citizens.
Quick answer from your side.
Mhm.
Artificial intelligence, generative AI like GPT, and so, whether it's an opportunity or it can pose a challenge also?
Good question. I think it's an opportunity, but it definitely does pose questions. I think or a challenge. I think where it can be viewed as an opportunity is as long as citizens and individuals are educated and there's maybe some ability to track.
You have answered.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you.
So with this, we move to the next paper, third one. The paper title is Pivotal Factors Affecting Citizens in Using Smart Governance Services in Indonesia. And we have Professor Ulung Pribadi amongst us. I welcome Professor Pribadi, and over to you. Please go ahead. All the best.
Yes, I am.
Please stick to the time, around 10 to 11 minutes. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I will present my research. Pivotal factors affecting citizens in using smart government services in Indonesia. Introduction. Governments worldwide use advanced technologies like IoT and AI to provide quality public services. But more existing studies focus on technology and organizational management perspectives, limited research on the user community perspective, especially in Indonesia. Therefore, the study aims to examine the factors influencing citizens in using smart government services, especially from citizens' perspective in Indonesia. The study expands the technology acceptance model with variables suitable for local government and Indonesian society. The study contributes to the understanding of smart government services and the impact on citizens. Literature review and theoretical framework about smart government in public services. And then extended technology acceptance model. And then I use several variables. The study uses variables of perseverance, government accountability, community culture, user satisfaction, trust in government, trust in technology, perceived cost. Research method, a quantitative research model with survey techniques has been used in this research. The study uses questionnaire as a tool to obtain primary data. The study conducted a survey of people who use smart government technology in local governments in Indonesia. To gather data, quantitative survey questions were utilized. Utilizing a Likert scale, the questions were developed. The data was examined using SAM-BLS to assess its reliability and validity as well as to test the validity of the hypothesis and regression. And then the result, findings, and discussion. From the picture, I will explain more detail. Figure above depicts the results of hypothesis testing. The hypothesis is supported when the p-values is less than 0.05. The H1 hypothesis, which stated that perceived risk positively and significantly influences the citizen using smart government services, was rejected. The H2 hypothesis, which stated that government accountability positively and significantly influenced the citizens in using smart government services, was supported. The H3 hypothesis, which assumed that community culture positively and significantly influenced the citizen using smart government services, was rejected. And then the H4 hypothesis, which stated that user satisfaction positively and
Defending his work, it's not his work.
significantly.
Somebody else is defending, but the person's defense is not showing that the person knows what they do.
I request you to please mute. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. The H5 hypothesis, which stated that trust in government positively and significantly influences the citizen using smart government services, was supported. The H6 hypothesis, which stated that trust in technology influences citizens' use of smart government services positively and significantly, was supported. And then the H7 hypothesis was supported, which stated that perceived costs influence the use of smart government services positively and significantly. The study discovered that the more the government does for the benefit of the people, the more likely citizens are to use smart government services. This finding justifies the previous scholar studies regarding the interests and needs of the wider community, which can encourage citizens to trust the use of technology in government. Moreover, the study finds that the more people feel satisfied, the more citizens are interested in using the new tool of public services. The results of the study confirms the results of early investigations. Furthermore, the study finds that the higher the citizen trust to the public bureaucracy, the more citizens tend to use the newest technology in the government. This finding justifies the early studies regarding trust in government has proven to strengthen citizens to use the tools provided by the government. The study finds that the more citizens trust sophisticated tools, the more citizens tend to use the most recent technology in government. It supports the previous studies stating that trust in technology influences citizen intention in using smart services. The study uncovers that the lower the cost and the shorter time, the more citizens tend to use the most recent technology in government. The theoretical reflection that can be built from the findings of the study is as follows: accountable government policies and programs, community satisfaction in obtaining public services, people's trust in the public bureaucracy, and perceived costs trigger citizens to use the smart government services. And then the practical implication suggestion is that local government must determine service fees rationally, not expensive, and affordable for the poor. This is my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, Professor Olong, thank you. Very interesting topic. Any friend who has any question to Professor Trivedi? Okay, what was your sample size and what was the breakup in terms of demography?
My research take several
Sample.
several local governments in Indonesia, and my
But
focus is
government, you must have interacted with the citizens, right? How many people? How many people you contacted?
In each regency and cities, I take 100 people.
So how many regions are there? What was the sample size overall?
In this case, I take 4 cities and regencies.
Sir, you should have included that, whether 1,000 people, 2,000 people. Then the next question is, how many male, how many female, age group wise analysis, income group wise analysis.
I explain it in more detail in my paper completely.
Okay, you are not aware about that right now?
I don't have. Yeah.
Do you speak Spanish?
Indonesian.
¿Hablas español?
English,
No.
ma'am. Please speak English.
Yeah, English.
Okay.
I speak English and Indonesian.
Yeah. Okay, Professor Pribadi, maybe you mentioned it. We would have preferred if you would explain it. But Chali, one last question from my side. How do you explain smart government?
Smart government.
What is smart government according to you?
I tried several meaning of smart government from scholars. Yeah. Smart government uses modern ICT for international.
So according to what you are mentioning, smart governance is about technology usage. Is it so?
Yeah. Local governments in Indonesia use technology, modern technology in their services for citizens.
Okay, so any government which use more technology is more smarter.
I think local governments in Indonesia just started. Yeah.
Please understand. Listen to my question. I'm saying there are two local government, two provinces are there. One which is using less technology, another is using more technology. Can we conclude that the government which is using more technology is more smarter?
I think as average of local government in Indonesia begin to try to apply the technology.
Okay, you please think about these questions. Because of paucity of time, I think we can discuss this later on also. Thank you, please.
Yeah, thank you.
So our next paper, the fourth one for this particular track, is from Professor Christian Castillo-Lia. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing the name correctly. And it's related to telemedicine and data coordination for COVID-19. And the setting is Mexico. Over to you, Professor Christian.
Thank you.
Please turn on your camera.
1 second. I need share my. Okay, I'm ready.
Can you change the angle, please? I think there is a light behind you.
Okay.
Just behind you is that window curtain. So either you put the curtain.
Better?
No. PPT is fine. I'm saying just behind you, there is too much of light. We can't see you properly.
Oh.
Just behind you, I can see a lot of light. So can you change the angle? Look at this, like this.
I can. 1 second.
Yeah, like this.
Better? It's better?
No. Earlier one was better in this case. Okay, Chaliye, go ahead, please.
Here is morning, so yeah.
Right. Please go ahead, please.
Hi, my name is Cristian Castillo. I'm from Mexico. Sorry, here is morning, 9
Good morning.
a.m. So good evening for us. I present system approach for telemedicine and data coordination for COVID-19 in Baja California, Mexico. Baja California is cross-border to US in San Diego, California. Specific, I'm talking about by Tijuana. In Tijuana, it's more than 1 million people, especially because I receive migrants or by different countries. So in Tijuana have a C4. This is a 911 dispatch center, and receive more than 48,000 calls per year. In this case, when they start the pandemic and open the system, telehealth, because it's the more problem. The main problem is that we don't have enough ambulance. So this is the reason why create this system. The name is Telesalud COVID, Telehealth COVID. I'm working since April 1st, 2020. Install the system in 2 days. It's very fast because the case start very fast. Need this system for employed in Tijuana, working together with the state government, local government, non-profit organization, and educative institutions. The idea is install 7 medical interns and 2 psychologists in this case, all day. Okay, this is the and create EM's track. This system was created to dispatch ambulance and optimize response times, because it's complicated when you don't have ambulance. And you can see in this map present the ambulance localization and optimization times. The other institution, Colegio de la Frontera Norte, create this map for social vulnerability and COVID-19. A map of vulnerability areas with high cases of COVID was created with the information obtained in the clinic's web setup point. In this part, you see the clinical figures. And the other hand, have the dashboard is EMC track. So combine 2 information, dashboard and social vulnerability, create the clinical figures. I'm used the medical use telemedicine platforms. In this case, is Telmex. Telemedicine was used for some cases when the people need exploring physical. The telehealth system COVID has demonstrated unparalleled level of care to the city of Baja California in response to the coronavirus pandemic. As superior free of the cost telehealth, this is the best important, and remote system was rapidly created and deployed utilizing government, academic, private sector, and volunteer resources. The multidisciplinary areas, it's better for for start this telehealth system. Promises synergy and collaboration has been initial, and actually currently the telecovid system continues in this moment. And that's it. Actually, I think my presentation is short.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone who has question from Ms. Christian? Okay. I hope the COVID situation is in control right now, almost contained.
Can you repeat again, please?
Is the situation perfectly all right with regard to COVID?
Yeah. Actually, help more than, I don't know. I don't have exactly that dates, but I think it's 1 second. For example, here. For example, in April 1st to September 14 in 2020, total received the calls is more 20,000. So I help more people and help for don't continue for the crisis, for emergencies. The most important is stop on different symptoms.
Okay.
So it's good, this system.
So madam, the data which you are showing, it's related to 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Do you have data related to the second wave and third wave which came in 21?
Not yet, actually, because I need create these statistics. So yeah, but
Okay.
I have the database for all system. Okay. So I need working by statistics.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you and all the best. I think Ms. Taylor wants to ask something. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick question for you, Christian. Do you see a potential application for this software, this tool for other things other than COVID-19? Do you think it could apply to even just in general improving the response times or the telehealth for Mexican citizens?
Yeah, actually, I'm create the algorithms by machine learning for optimize this system, because if you have different characteristics for the patient, it's better for you help. So I'm create, I have 1 year by create all the system for implementing this system telehealth.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Christian.
Thank you for
you can. I think Dr. Chekwas or Mr. Chekwas, I think he has also a question. Please turn on your camera and ask it, please.
Yeah, hello. Good evening. My name is Chekwas. I'm from Nigeria.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, please. My question is, what are the challenges facing telemedicine, or what are the future challenges do you perceive to face telemedicine?
I can't hear you. Well, can you repeat again, please?
So I said, what are the challenges facing telemedicine, or what are the future challenges that might face telemedicine?
Challenges.
What are
Ms. Christian, he's asking about challenges, problems.
For different problems, use telemedicine, it's correct?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, in Mexico, don't have new technologies and other alternatives for help of the people, especially in health. So the telemedicine is the other alternative for use with medical specialists for the different patient. Remember, Mexico, it's big, so have many different areas in rurals and urban different. So the telemedicine help in this case. Actually, in Hospital General de Tijuana, use in this moment different application by artificial intelligence by its prototype, because I'm collaborate with him. So yeah, I'm use telemedicine every day for help, but it's short projects, not all Mexico use.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
sorry, one more question, please.
Go ahead.
All right, is network security a challenge in telemedicine?
Sorry. Can you repeat?
Is network security, is it a challenge facing telemedicine?
Are you asking about internet speed?
No. Security, the security of the network.
Security by
Network.
network?
The network security, is it a challenge
Network security.
facing telemedicine?
Yeah, network
Yes.
security.
Yeah, good point. Actually, don't have exactly what is the rules, for example, for use the artificial intelligence. Actually, Taylor talk about this security, and in health, it's crash. You need review different protocols, but don't have. You can implement it with security. So I think this is the detail.
It can be, Ms. Christian, it can be a
complicated.
separate study. It can be a separate study, so you can develop interest and probably do something in that area in your country. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you,
thank you.
Mr. Chekwas. And we go to our second last presentation. The topic is, vision-based warning system for maintenance personnel at a roadworks site. And paper presenter is Dr. Xiao Ni. Please go ahead. You may start, please. Thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be invited to the 8th International Congress on Information and Communication. My name is Xiao Ni, and I work now at the University of Applied Sciences, Erfurt. The topic of my presentation is vision-based warning system for maintenance personnel at a short-term roadwork site. It is part of the work of the project ICICT, which is funded by the German Federal Ministry of Transport and Digital Infrastructure. At the beginning, I would like to first introduce the background of the work from 3 points. First, I would explain what is short-term roadwork sites. Second, I want to show you the horrible accidents that happened in short-term roadwork sites so that you can understand the necessity and the importance of the work. Last, I will show you the available new approaches to improve the security of the maintenance personnel. According to the definition from the German Road Sites Committee, short-term roadwork sites are all sites that exist only for a limited number of hours, usually during the daylight hours of a calendar day. There are 3 main types of short-term roadwork sites. They are short-term stationary sites, mobile sites, and their surveying work. These are the news reports about the accident that happened in short-term roadwork site in Germany. From the pictures, you can see the scene of such accidents and such accidents usually lead to severe injury of person and heavily interfere the progress of the roadworks. The following graphs are based on statistics of accidents involving maintenance personnel in Hesse from 2015 to 2019. Hesse is a federal state of Germany. During the evaluated period, there are 675 accidents that happened in short-term roadwork site, and a total of 26 accidents involving injured personnel were identified. The majority of victims suffered minor injuries. The analysis of accidents with severely injured or killed personnel shows that these accidents were mainly caused by inattention of the moving traffic or the maintenance personnel. Despite explicit specifications and the methods taken so far, there remains a potential danger for the road workers. Therefore, it is essential to further improve the safety of maintenance personnel with the help of new technologies. In our project, we utilize two technologies. One is V2X, which is communication between a vehicle and any entity that may be affected by the vehicle. But it is not the key part today. The other technology is vision-based warning system, which can provide active protection, leveraging acoustic and visual warning to help road workers be cautious of approaching vehicles before they pass the working area. See the picture. When the vehicle passes the working area, approaches the short-term roadwork site, the vision system detects it and decides whether it is worth warning. If it is necessary, it will send a warning trigger to the warning peripheral to alert the maintenance personnel. In following, I will elaborate the warning system through its workflow. There are two inputs to the system. One is a video streaming of a front-mounted conventional RGB camera, and another is a video streaming of a rear-mounted conventional RGB camera. With these two cameras, we can observe both directions of the roadwork site. The whole workflow is composed of three main steps: detecting vehicles, tracking vehicles, and checking traffic flow. This architecture gives us more details about the system. The front and the rear cameras are connected with the vehicle computer by using LAN cable. In the future, we want to replace it with wireless LAN connection to simplify the mounting process. And for the vehicle computer and the warning device owned by the maintenance personnel, we have already used the VLAN, a wireless LAN, to connect them. Vehicle detection is already a mature and proven technology. In tradition, people use the sliding window method with traditional machine classifier. However, this method needs much feature engineering work and have low accuracy. Due to the developments in deep learning, modern detectors are mainly composed of convolutional neural networks. Such detectors usually require large data set to train the neural network to achieve a better generalization capability. For the balance between inference time and accuracy, since this is a real-time application, we give priority to the inference time and choose here a one-shot detector, YOLO. We downloaded the pre-trained weights from the original author and wanted to further fine-tune the neural network with our own data set, which consists of 2,000 images with corresponding annotations. Here, we apply the so-called transfer learning concept to shorten the training time. Otherwise, it will take too long time to train a neural network from scratch. After the step vehicle detection, we use common filter to estimate the next states of each detected vehicles. We assume that the vehicles move at constant speed since the vehicle's acceleration is not so high and the interval between image frames is sufficiently small. We calculate the Euclidean distance between each new detection point and each estimated state point as the cost of detection being assigned to a trajectory. Then we use Hungarian algorithm to solve the optimal assignment of detection to trajectory. And the detected vehicle will be bound with a unique ID. Every time a vehicle is tracked with the help of detection-based tracking system, the maintenance personnel will be not only acoustically, but also visually warned. However, in one peak hour, hundreds of vehicles approach the roadwork site. And for each vehicle, the warning device is triggered once. And the maintenance personnel is also alerted once. That means the road workers will be warned hundreds of times in 1 hour. Apparently, it is not an appropriate solution for the road workers. To overcome these issues, we also developed a traffic flow check algorithm to filter such unnecessary signals from the tracking system. The warning system aims to alert the maintenance personnel of the coming vehicles when they might be unaware of the possible danger. When a car approaches and the system alerts the maintenance personnel, they will already prepare and start observing the road condition. The traffic flow will keep the maintenance personnel paying attention to the road condition. It is necessary to alert the maintenance personnel of the newly emerging vehicle only if there is no vehicle on the road and the maintenance personnel relax their attention. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, any question to the presenter, please? Okay. Ms. Taylor, please, you are asking something.
Do we have time for a question? Okay.
Please
perfect.
go. Please go ahead. You have some question.
Have you noticed that there's any limitation? I'm not sure how the cameras with like network, Wi-Fi network, is there any limitations in like rural areas that you've noticed in which the system has some challenges in relaying the notifications to the maintenance workers? I'm not sure. Go ahead.
For our use case, the distance between the maintenance personnel and the vehicle computer is always within less than 100 meters. So but for wireless LAN, I think at least the distance could reach like 200 meters, so that we have never met any problem.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody wanted to ask a question. I think Mr. Chekwas.
Yeah, she asked. I think she has asked the question I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask the distance, but she has asked the question. I'm okay.
Okay. So one question from my side. This is a conceptual model, or have you tested it somewhere?
Yes, we have already we have already built the prototype and tested in the real world.
So what are the findings?
What are the findings? That means we use the vision-based warning system to improve the security of the road workers. It's the finding. It's not, I mean, yeah, innovative, groundbreaking innovation, but it's application. I want to like.
So can this model work in case of night or when there is a low vision, let's say a rainfall situation or so?
It's also a good question. First, the maintenance personnel work only at the day, on the day, not at the night. But we also have planned to use infrared camera to solve the problem at the night, because the camera can't see very clear, has a low resolution at night, and the infrared camera has these strengths.
Good that you thought about it. So thank you very much. And now I request the last paper presenter, Dr. Joseph, and the paper title is Web Application to Improve the Competencies in the Area of Mathematics of 4th grade. Please turn on your camera and then start, please. And after that, I request all of you to please turn on your camera, and Richa and Mansi would like to have a photograph. Yeah, Joseph, please start. Start the presentation and unmute yourself.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jesus Reyes, and today we'll expose my paper, web application to improve the competence in the area of mathematics of 4th grade. Okay, this work is structured as follows: section 1, introduction, methodology, and resource and discussion, contraction, and conclusion. Okay, introduction. Education over the years has become important for the development of a country, considered as one of the most effective tools for the consolidation of peace, poverty reduction, health improvement, achievement of gender equity and stability. It's clear to say that education is fundamental human right of our people that must be rendered on the best quality for the improvement of students' lives and the eradication of illiteracy in the world. It's evident that education has undergone significant change where technology has played an important role against that change and the ways of teaching and learning in educational institutions. Where classes were taught in a traditional way, but today have given way to new methodologies and the made use of information and communication technologies, as they provide tools and resources programs on to raise student learning. Besides, help for the pedagogy of teachers, making it more didactic through visual, interactive, and innovative aspects. The use ICTs in the world is no longer exclusive to developed countries, as they have gained importance in different countries, highlighting the possibilities offered by their tools to improve the quality of education. This can be demonstrated by countries such as China, Singapore, Estonia, Canada, and Finland, which are the countries with the best education worldwide, according to the reports obtained from the PISA 2018. This due to the fact that they stand with good score and three areas evaluated, especially mathematics. This is because they apply one of the best education policies for development of a country and back on the advancement of technology. Peru and the results obtained in the PISA evaluation were not very ratified. This problem is due to the fact that our country continues to occupy the last place, which shows that is still for below several Latin American countries, which has alerted Minedu to take decisions to improve the learning of school children. Likewise, the last national evaluations that were carried or implemented by the Office for the Measurement of the Quality of Learning of Minedu, showing us that the results are not expected and sufficient, since there is a percentage of students who still do not achieve the learning established and expected by the curriculum. Okay, this shown as that they must change the ways of teaching and learning, opting for new methodologies that benefit student learning using ICT, as they were allowed us to eliminate traditional methodologies where students are memoristic and repetitive. To this end, it was proposed to design and implement a web application to her strengthened competence in the area of mathematics, providing throughout these gains and reading and evaluation to strengthen the knowledge of students and to complement this process throughout the reports obtained that were be reviewed by teachers and well served to determine which topics strengthened and thus improve the performance of their students. Methodology. Okay, according to the national curriculum design, the mathematics is governed by a set of competence, and the function is ability to face different situations or reality in an effective way. And these competences are classified in four, which are solving quantity, solving quantity problems, solving problems of regularity, equivalence in chains, and solving problems of form, moving, and location, solving data and ascertained management problems. For the above mentioned, the research question is given a form how does the use of a web application influence the improvement mathematical competence of four grade students. And the objective is to determine how the uses of web application influence the improvement of the mathematical competence of the students of four-grade primary school. Okay, methodology, agile methodology. In the research, they're working with Scrum for its flexibility and simplicity. This framework focuses on teamwork, which project members use a set best practice and collaboration work to obtain the best result in delivery of the product. Research design type, the research presence is experimental design sets the type of design allows manipulating unless on the independent variable to observe the effects on the dependent variable. Population on sample. For this research, the population were constituted by 30 students of the fourth grade of primary school. In the sample consisted in 30 students, of which 15 were classified in the control group and 15 experimental group. Okay, project was divided into three sprints. In Spring 1, we observed the features and parameters necessary to the operation of the web application. On the other hand, the user management interface. We will also see the exercise management interface where we will create the exercise corresponding to the unique and the type of competence of the exercise and the answers assigned through the combo box. In Spring 2, we will and the unique interface is divided by competence, each one of with different topics corresponding to this unit. In the student must review the topics covered in class, complementing with educational gains in animation, performing at the end evaluation to analyze how much the student has understood. On the other hand, there is administration panel with the results of the evaluation given the students in this panel. In this panel, there is button called detailed to visualize in a more detailed way the evaluation, showing in the scores of each student with respect to the competence evaluated in the unit. In the last user story and statics interface was developed with the result of the evaluation given by the student specified unit.
Professor Joseph, I request you to please conclude. It's a very interesting work, but I think time is the constraint. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This any questions. Okay. Beginning with the described analysis, the present investigation was divided into 4 indicators which represent the improvement in age of the competence in the area of mathematics, starting with the first indicator, which determines the number of problems surveyed and quantified, what is identified, and that the control group in the pretest to the post-test obtained no significant increase with respect to their learning since 25.6% was obtained. However, in the case of the experimental group, the increase between the pretest to the post-test was an increase of 93.90%. And then in the second indicator that determines the number of solved problem of regularity, equivalence, and change. In the results of the control group, there was also no significant increase with respect to their learning, since it increased by 12.68%. However, in the case of the experimental group, from the pretest to the post-test, I obtained an increase at 100%. For the third indicator, the number of solved problems of moment and location was determined what is identified as the control group in the pretest to the post-test, obtain no significant increase with respect to the learning, since 0.07% was obtained. However, in the case of the experimental group, the increase and between the pretest to the post-test was an increase of 77.25%. Finally, in the fourth indicator, where the number of problems solved on data handled and uncertained was determined in the results of the control group, there was no significant increase with respect to the learning, since increased by 31.46%. However, in the case of the experimental group, from the pretest to the post-test, there was increase 93.90%. Construction of hypothesis. Okay, in the construction of the hypothesis sums that the tables corresponding to the indicators present a level of significance lower than 0.001, which is lower than the theoretical significance 0.005. That's determinant through statics that the use of the web application substantially improves the learning of competence in the area of mathematics. Conclusion. Currently, most institutions continue to use very traditional methodologies in teaching or learning without knowing the benefits and advantages of ICT, which is why development of this project was proposed to demonstrate through the results obtained at this affect the implementation of application in the learning process in the area of mathematics, where it is observed through the results that provides students with great motivation and better academic performance. In addition to being supporting teaching methodologies, making them more dynamic and interactive. From the results obtained, it was demonstrated.
I think you already explained that. We can skip this, please, so that we can take few questions. Your conclusions are pretty clear. Please go to the next slide.
Sorry?
I'm saying your conclusions are pretty clear. It's a good research work. My only observation is that the sample size was a relatively smaller one. It's a very good work. ICT can play a big role in achieving sustainable development goals, including education. And I think you can explore a larger sample size, right? That's my only observation. I think we can have one question from Professor David. Please go ahead, and then we will conclude.
All right,
Richa, please be ready.
All right, thank you very much. My concerns is similar to yours. The topic said for grade 4. So I wonder why the work is limited only to grade 4. Hello, Zauni, why do you limit the work to grade 4? I think grade 4 could be a case study, but it should not be limited to grade 4.
Joseph?
Okay,
Hello,
this project
Joseph.
focused, okay.
Why class? Why 4th standard only? That's what.
This project focused on improvement the competence in the area of mathematics. Central results obtained from the PISA test and the UNC were not as expected, and that is why this project was developed with the aim of improvement and this first show interactive ratings, evaluation, and feedback that the teacher will review the progress of each student. After implementing the web application, we can observe the improvement in each of the user competence in the area of mathematics. We made a tool of a support for student learning. We also obtained throughout the specific 28 study and the achievement levels of age to then identify throughout the Wilkinson test that the significance level is less than the theoretical significance of 0.05, and demonstrating that the
hold on, hypothesis. I think his question is pretty straight, and it's a logical extension to what I asked. I said the sample size is small, and he's saying that why restricting it to 4th standard only? So maybe currently your scope of study was limited to 4th standard, but you should explore, okay, yes, higher standard also and other classes also, and with larger sample that will give a validity to your research, right? Yes. So that's our suggestion. And with this we conclude. Thank you very much. We had the 6 presentations. Thank you very much. From across the globe. And researchers deployed survey method also, experimental method also, observation also, simulation. So in all, it was wonderful learning. And I thank all the paper presenters as well as GR Foundation for this opportunity. I have shared my email address for communication. And now we can have the concluding remarks from Ms. Richa or Mansi, if anything.
Thank you so much, presenter and our session chair. I sincerely thank our authors for their excellent presentation and all the participants for being a part of this conference. I hope this session was knowledgeable enough for you all. On behalf of our whole team, I would like to thank you and thank you for the support during this 8th session and the previous 7 sessions. And I hope and we will be happy to have in our 9th session in 2024. All the presenters would get their certificate through email within 2 working days, and their further all the papers would I had already forwarded to the Springer. So now publication will be live within 6 months. Kindly cooperate with the ICICT 2023. So in last, I would like to thank our session chair, Dr. Nitesh Bhatt, and this is a token of appreciation on the behalf of the whole team of ICIT ICICT 2023 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation and partners. Thank you so much, Dr. Nitesh Bhatt sir, Nitesh Bhatt sir, and to all the presenters for your valuable presence. And last, I would like to request you all to switch on their cameras so we can take a quick snapshot of this virtual conference. Thank you so much. Stay happy,
Thank
stay
you.
safe.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.